Ram or Ford, that is the question that every single truck buyer is going to ask themselves at one point, because these two are the pinnacle of the truck game. And today we have one of the kings from the Ford lineup, with the F-250 being an absolute powerhouse. And we're gonna see if this can change my mind, because personally, I lean towards Ram. My name's Jason, and you're watching GaudinX. Now, the first thing to talk about on this truck is probably going to be my favorite thing, and that's going to be the engine underneath this hood. This is a 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel engine, and you know what they say about diesels? These things create torque, and that's going to be 1,050 pound-feet of torque, which is absolutely incredible. On top of that, you're gonna get 475 horsepower, just shy under that 500 mark, but this engine is absolutely killer. I mean, it's enough to make a grown man cry. And I know Ram has something comparable to this and whatnot, but just this kind of engine in a truck just lets you do everything you want to, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now, moving on to the looks of the F-250, it's probably gonna be the weakest part about the truck. You have some badging here and there, you have the Power Stroke and whatnot, but it really doesn't do too much. You have your standard F-250 grille up front. Yes, it has that chrome plating, and it looks a little bit decent. You have the traditional Ford headlights, but it's nothing really special. And I think that's the biggest flaw of this F-250. There's no individuality. It's just boring when it comes down to it, and that really does stink. But there are going to be a few neat and nice features I want to point out, because I do really like this luxurious feature of the automatically lowering side step to help you get into this truck, because for a lot of people this truck's a little bit higher off the ground, which might be a little bit of a deterrent. Also, you have a lot of space in the bed, which I think is fantastic, as well as you have spots to screw in a toolbox if that's something that you're going to need with you on your daily life. Because you know what, who doesn't want a toolbox in the back of their truck that they don't have to worry about ever? Because that would be a nice thing,
and I would kill for that.
Overall though, the truck itself doesn't really do anything special look-wise. It's just kind of there, and some people like that. Me personally, I'm a little bit against it, but on the inside is where a lot of it changes, so let's go on in. Now, on the inside of the F-250, I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty dang comfortable. These seats are absolutely delightful, with this extra support that just kind of makes you feel like you're locked in. I think that's one thing that Ford has excelled on with the F-250. It's like, I might even argue that it's better than Ram without a contest, because the inside of here is so good and up to date. I mean, you have all the tech savvy stuff you want. You have everything for your trailers. You have everything along those lines. You have mirrors that are so adjustable. There is not a single blind spot in a truck this big. How is that possible? I mean, I've driven cars that are so tiny where you can probably see the entire car with a mirror, and you still have worse blind spots than something like this. And I think that's absolutely a stunning feature from Ford, because this is so nice, as well as this infotainment screen is so nicely integrated. I love this screen here in the center. Super up to date, super modern, no complaints overall. You have the digital gauge cluster. I think it's a little bland looking overall, but I mean, genuinely, this truck is a work of art when you're on the inside. Everything tech needed is there, but it doesn't feel too tech savvy that you can't have some off-road ruggedness, but there's still just comfort in the entire vehicle. No matter what you're doing, you're gonna be having a comfortable and good time overall. Now, on the inside of the truck, first thing we're doing is we're a little bit off-road just to see how this thing handles. Yes, this isn't necessarily going to be Ford's top off-road capable vehicle, but it's gonna do everything you need it to without any issues. We're about to go downhill, and it really does just do what you want. I don't feel like there's any issues. Yes, it's bumpy, but that's just the nature of being on an off-roady-esque road, and I really do think that's something really important to have the capability of, because if you're on a construction site or you're doing anything like that where you just need to have a little bit of room, or you need to be able to move on some less than fine road, I mean, this thing kicks butt. I mean, it definitely does everything you need it to, and a little bit more on top of that. Now we're on standard road, and this is where I think this thing excels. This engine feels fantastic to drive with. The acceleration feels good. There's actually a pretty decent amount of noise behind too. It's nothing crazy like a supercharged engine or anything like that, but it does sound nonetheless noticeable, letting you feel pretty dominant and powerful on the road. I mean, this truck, for all intents and purposes, it is really, really nice. But I also like just how you feel on the road. You're not completely lifted like some of the other trucks, but you have a good enough height where you feel commanding. It feels just very strong and powerful overall, and I think that this truck does everything you want it to do and a little bit more on top of it. And I really do think that if you guys are struggling on finding something that you want that just does everything, I mean, look no further than this F-250, because I mean it from the bottom of my heart. This thing kicks butt. It does almost everything you could ask it to do and a little bit more, while still feeling comfortable, while still having great power and everything along those lines, especially if we want to talk towing capacity, because I forgot to mention that, but you can tow up to 14,000 pounds with this, meaning whatever trailer you got in the back, if you want jet skis, if you want anything, a boat even, you could do it, making this the perfect all-arounder truck. Yes, it's going to be a little bit pricier, starting at about $60,000 before we get anything too crazy in addition to it, but I think it's worth it. I really do. This truck does everything you want it to do, feels good to be in, the only downside being that looks, but I think if we take a step out, I'm going to end it with my final rating and talk about how I feel overall. Now, overall for the F-250, I think I'm going to have to rate it 4.5 out of 5 stars because this truck is almost perfect. I believe this engine alone would give it 5 stars if there weren't just one drawback that really takes me away from the Fords, and that's the looks. It really does come down to it just not falling under my style. I feel like for a truck this expensive, you want something that stands out a little bit more, has a little bit more style, but really it does seem like a corporate kind of truck that you'd get from working at a job. You know, I can see this being a work truck, not necessarily a personal truck that you love and adore, but everything else it does so fantastically. So I'm going to leave it at 4.5 stars, almost perfect. Let us know what you guys would rate it down in the comments below. If you guys want to see more from us, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.